You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. Paul, as always, it's great to see you back here in the studio.
It's great to be back.
So I was wondering, Paul, just to start off, before we start talking about the new season, if you can just introduce our listeners into the railway.
Okay, I'll give you a quick reminder. So, Sittingbourne Kemsley Light Railway is our full name, but we usually shorten that to Sittingbourne Steam Railway. Runs over the former paper mill network between Sittingbourne Paper Mill and Kemsley Paper Mill. Sittingbourne Paper Mill is long gone and is now Morrison's, but Kemsley Paper Mill is England's biggest paper mill according to the sign when you go in, so it's still going strong, and Kemsley Down is right in the middle of the site. You probably remember, if you've been listening a lot, we closed to the public back in 2008 because our landlords wanted to sell Sittingbourne Paper Mill for demolition, and then obviously the transformation into Morrison's, and we reopened again in 2010 and operated between Milton Regis Asda Halt and Kemsley Down from May till September 2011, and then we were back to Sittingbourne in May 2012. So the 2013 season was our first all the way through the year season back to normal, and our passenger figures for last year, for 2015, were up 15% on 2014, so we're now back to the 2007 levels, which was the year before we closed. So we obviously had a big spike because everybody thought that was it, us included, and we've now got back up to that level, so things are looking really good down at the railway. There's been so much change, so if you haven't been down for a while, it's worth coming down just to see all the change that's been down there.
We're talking to Paul Best from the Sittingbourne and Kemsley Light Railway, and Paul was hoping you could tell us what's happening this year for the season.
Certainly. So our season starts Good Friday. We're open for 4 days of steam, from Good Friday to Easter Monday. We like to start in the deep end. So you come out of winter and sort of blow all the cobwebs off. So the trains will be running hourly from 11 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Good Friday all the way through to Easter Monday. On Easter Sunday, we've got our annual Easter egg hunt at Kemsley Down, which is always good fun. Then the railway settles down into the more sedate every Sunday 1 till 4 p.m. Departures from Sittingbourne. But then we have a special event. We have at least one special event every month. So obviously this year Easter's a little bit earlier, it's in March, and that left us with a bit of a gap for April. So we thought, what can we add that we haven't done for a while? So this year we're bringing back the Teddy Bears Picnic. Probably hasn't been a Teddy Bears Picnic since the 90s. So it'd be really good to have the classic event back. Children accompanied by a teddy bear and a full paying adult will travel for free, and we're going to have, you can bring a picnic with you, or you can buy a little picnic bag when you get to Kemsley Down. So it's going to be good fun. We're going to have a teddy bear walking around, and we're going to have a teddy bear hunt, so that'll be really good fun. I'm looking forward to that. That's on the 10th of April, which is the Sunday. Then in May, the first bank holiday, which is Sunday the 1st and Monday the 2nd of May, Jack the Station Cat returns to the railway for some more adventures at Kemsley Down. It's always good fun. And we have live action interactive storytelling. It's going to be really good, and we hope to have one of the illustrators there doing some reading of the books and explaining how he drew the characters, which is good. Then on the 12th of June, it's Community Day. Now, normally on a Community Day, we've run this for the last couple of years, we try and get community groups together. This year, it's a little bit special because it falls on the official day of the Queen's 90th birthday. So we're thinking of having a big birthday party for the Queen at Kemsley Down throughout the afternoon. So if any community groups would like to join in, if they could drop us a line at info@sklr.net, we'd be delighted to hear from them. I think this would be a really good one for everybody to sort of get together, and we'll have a good old party at Kemsley Down. And speaking of partying, a couple of weeks later, on the 2nd and 3rd of July, it's our annual Steam and Beer event. So we'll be running steam trains all day from 11 o'clock in the morning. On the Saturday we run until pretty much midnight, and on the Sunday we run until about 6 o'clock in the evening. There's live music on the Saturday, and Captain Jack Sparrow will be entertaining everybody on the Sunday. It's always good fun. And there's Sunday's the family day, so if you've got kids, bring them along to that. And Captain Jack Sparrow will keep them entertained, and we'll also have a treasure hunt for them. Then on the 16th of July, we'll be working with the Friends of Milton Creek Country Park for Art in the Park. So on this Saturday, we're going to put a pop-up station at Milton Creek Country Park at our Burley Crossing, and trains will be stopping there, and you'll be able to get off and have a look round. We're hoping to have a steam train this year. We're just having to see if we can actually fit it in, because the timings are quite tight with the extra stop. But it should be good fun again. Last year we ran the train as an experiment, and it was a massive success, so hopefully it will be again this year. And then August will soon be upon us. I know it's terrible to say, and that's obviously the school holidays. So throughout the school holidays we will be open 1 till 4 on Wednesdays and 11 till 4 on Sundays. And then at the end of the month, obviously, we've got the bank holiday, which is the 28th, the Sunday, and the 29th is the Monday. And that's either the engine weekend, when the famous Welsh engine visits the railway, usually causes chaos and tries to steal trains. And then the 24th and 25th of September is our end of season gala weekend. And we're hoping to do something a little bit special this year. We're hoping to run into the night on the Saturday, so that we can light up the locos, so people can come down and take photos of the locos at night, because you don't really see that apart from Steam and Beer, and then they're a little bit worse for wear to take the photos, so it'll be nice to be able to see them in focus this time. And we're also holding footplate experience courses throughout the year. They're very limited spaces, but if you drop us an email to info@sklr.net, you'll be able to find out more. A round trip takes about an hour, but you're welcome to stay longer at Kemsley Down and return on a later train. And although we've held our fortnightly work weekends throughout autumn and winter, we still haven't been able to repair the damage to Milton Regis Asda Halt. So it's likely to remain closed for the whole of this season as well. And it's a really difficult one, because we really would like to reopen it, but at the moment we can't see how. The last work weekend of the winter is this weekend coming, and we are meeting at Sittingbourne Viaduct Station. Everyone's welcome to come along and help. We're meeting at 9:50 a.m. For a 10 o'clock works train to Kemsley Down. Tools, training and lunch will be provided, and the train leaves Kemsley Down at about 4 o'clock to get you back to Sittingbourne. If it's raining it might be a little bit earlier, but it's usually about 4 o'clock on both Saturday and Sunday. It's a good opportunity to see behind the scenes and to help out ahead of reopening for the season.
I know next you want to talk a little bit about what the journey's like on the railway.
Yeah, so I like to think we're a little bit unusual. So if you've never been before, we're not like the usual steam railway that runs through the lovely fields and through the downs and the dales. We're slightly more industrial than that, because obviously it was for paper mills. To find us, we're actually located within Sittingbourne Retail Park, and we've got a free car park behind KFC, and our pedestrian entrance is then through the gates behind Pizza Hut, and this road is called the Wall. And as you walk through the entrance gate, you'll see why it's called the Wall, because the wall on the right was the old paper mill boundary wall. And last year it was painted with a fantastic mural depicting the railway, Milton Creek, the paper mill and the old water tower. And it was funded by Sittingbourne Society's John Jordan bequest. And an anti-graffiti coating was applied thanks to Swale Borough Council, and it is just amazing. It's really brightened the area up, and it stands out so well. It's a really, really nice mural. At the end of the mural, we got our gate, which you go through. You can't miss the mobile phone mast on the left. We really have got all the exciting sights. And then you come to the new staircase, which takes you up the embankment. And then when you get to the top of the embankment, we've got our ticket office and the station. Hopefully in the next year or two we'll be having disabled access, and we're really trying to get disabled access around to access at Sittingbourne Viaduct, because we recognise it's really important for our visitors. So hopefully this year or next year we'll finally achieve that. Sittingbourne Viaduct Station is on the site of former transfer sidings, so the position of the tracks is actually pretty much where they were when the railway was running for paper. And the last remnant of the link to the paper mill is the bridge that goes over the wall. So you walk under a bit of the history of the railway before you even get to the railway. If you have visited before, you'll notice the absence of the pipelines at Sittingbourne Viaduct Station and several other locations along the line. These used to carry high pressure steam, hot water and effluent between the paper mills to run the machines and to take away the waste. They've pretty much all gone at Sittingbourne Viaduct Station and at Kemsley Down, but you can still see the remains of them in places. The industrial nature of the railway can be enjoyed as we depart the station onto Milton Regis Viaduct, which at 100 years old is one of the oldest reinforced concrete structures in the UK, and is certainly one of the longest on a narrow gauge railway, at almost a kilometre long. It has 118 spans and 6 bridges, and has cost the railway about £170,000 in maintenance costs since the mid-1990s, the most recent work being carried out as recently as last month. So we have a regular maintenance plan. It's sort of every 2 years they do a lot of work, and January and February this year was the latest. Once we come off the viaduct, we pass through our only intermediate station, but this was so badly vandalised that we're not sure we'll be able to reopen it. It requires significant work as it's atop a steep embankment. If there are any civil engineers listening who would like a challenge, do get in touch. The railway then passes through Milton Creek Country Park, and the marshes are salt marsh on the Milton Creek side of the line and freshwater marsh on the Milton Regis side of the line. The railway kind of dams the two, separates the two, so you quite often see different birds on either side of the line, because some prefer salt water to fresh water. The Sittingbourne Northern Relief Road, or Swale Way, crosses the track on the bridge, which is a great place to get pictures of the trains. And then we arrive at Kemsley Paper Mill, which is alongside us as we make our final approach to Kemsley Down. The station itself is almost completely surrounded by the paper mill. Only Milton Creek prevents this. And it's like an oasis in the paper mill, and particularly if you go to the wildlife garden, which is a lovely quiet place to sit right alongside the chimneys and the tanks and everything else. It's just incredible.
Well, what can you expect to see and do when you are at the railway?
Well, on a normal day, whilst the facilities at Sittingbourne Viaduct are very basic, Kemsley Down has a museum, shop, footplate cafe, picnic and play areas, museum walk, wildlife area. If it's fairly quiet, well, even if it isn't, if you ask nicely, I'm sure we can arrange for someone to show you around the engine shed. And then obviously on event days we use the site for different things, so it could be that we've got a treasure hunt on, steam and beer. On the Saturday we have the band there, so we'll have a stage set up and live music. So we try and use Kemsley Down as our main base, because it's a secure site for a sort of out of season and not when we're closed. But it's also a brilliant place to hold our events because it's secure. You can let the kids run around and have a good time, and you can just sort of rest and drink tea, which is what a lot of the mums do on Wednesdays in August. Wednesdays in August being some of our busiest days of the year, just because it is nice to get away from it all, just sit down, have a cup of tea and spend a couple of hours chatting. The railway's quite rare in the preservation world because it was sort of handed over to the Preservation Society. So it was running one day, and then the next day it was like, right, you're now taking this on. And that was in 1969. So in 1970 they'd started to build Kemsley Down and set it up as a heritage railway. So the advantage of that is that we've still got the original locomotives, coaches, wagons, and even some of the buildings from the Bowwaters Light Railway. So unlike a lot of other railways where some places didn't even have a railway or took it right back to removing all the track and leaving just a track bed, and then they've rebuilt it from there. So we've been very lucky over the years. And our close proximity to Elmley Marshes enables you to see a variety of wild birds. And if you'd like a scenic walk, you can take the Saxon Shoreway, which passes Kemsley Down's back gate. So single tickets are available, so you could, if you wanted, get the train to Kemsley Down and walk back, or vice versa. It is quite a pleasant walk. And if you go the other way, instead of heading back towards Sittingbourne and head round towards Ridham Dock, you are literally right on the swale, and you can see across the Isle of Sheppey and all the birds and the boats.
So, Paul, how much does a trip actually cost?
So we aim to be a nice cheap day out, and although our fares have gone up, we still think that they are still quite reasonable. So a return trip is £7 for adults, £3 for children aged 3 to 13, £5 for concessions, and £19 for families of 2 adults and up to 4 children. Special fares apply for steam and beer, art in the park, and our Santa specials in December. But for all the other events and ordinary days, it's just the usual fare.
We are at the moment talking to Paul Best from the Sittingbourne Kemsley Light Railway. We're here at the Monday Night Community Show. Paul, how else do you spread the word?
So hopefully you'll be able to find our leaflets at Take One Media racks across Kent. Our leaflets, we have a massive 50,000 leaflets printed, and I know that 19,000 are out there now in leaflet racks across Kent. So if you see one, please do tell us on Facebook or Twitter where you've seen it, because it's really good to see that they're out and about, and we know that they've gone to a lot of obscure places that we used to find really difficult to deliver the leaflets to, such as campsites and caravan parks in the middle of nowhere, where people do really go to enjoy their holiday and then find out about it. So it's a really good way of getting the word out. I also do interviews like this, obviously, press releases to the local newspapers and to the railway magazines. We do a lot of the important model railway exhibitions in Kent and Southend and all sorts of places. Open days where we can meet and talk to the general public. And then we've got a local event such as this Sunday. We're at the Holiday and Leisure Show at Dover Cruise Terminal, and I'll be giving out goodie bags and leaflets at that. So we try and spread the word far and wide, and we're trying not to just stick to the railway press or anything like that. We're trying to really get the word out so that we can get even more passengers this year.
So what do you like about the railway most, Paul?
I love the fact that the railway is unique about being given by Bowwaters to be taken on as a tourist attraction, and we're also like one big happy friendly family. So it's just so nice and relaxing. Everybody is on first name terms, and we all chip in and have good fun. Even though we're doing something quite serious, like running a steam railway, we do like to be seen, I hope, as family friendly and as generally friendly. So it's really good fun, and I just like watching people, certainly kids when they see their first steam train, just look so amazed. And if we can, we're trying to get them on the footplate so they can see the fire and blow the whistle and stuff like that. So it's always good to make people's day.
So if somebody is listening and sort of inspired about what you're saying, can you tell us more about the membership of the railway and how that works?
Sure. So we've got about 200 members, and quite a high percentage are active members. But obviously we understand that you're a volunteer, so you don't have to be there. So we wouldn't want people to come down every day necessarily, unless they particularly wanted to. It's better to have people that can come down, even if it's just once or twice a month, to help out. It's just nice to have reliable people that can come down and help. We don't have any paid employees, so we're all volunteers. We always need more members. We lost quite a few key members whilst we were closed and in the years just after our closure. So we'd like to spread the load a bit. And in a recent survey, we discovered that 50% of our working membership is over 60. Now, obviously, we kind of understand how that comes about. So we have quite a high number of junior members. So that's aged 14 to 18. We've got quite a few in their late teens, early 20s. And then generally what we find is people then go off and have families, and it's not until their families are a little bit older that they come back. So what we're trying to do is encourage more people, particularly parents of young kids, to come back, come down, see what it's like. Like a work weekend like this weekend is a really good taster of what it's like. But also, even if you just want to work in the shop or do the washing up in the cafe, you don't have to do anything spectacular. Driving and firing takes several years to learn, and it's not something you can just sort of stroll into. But we can give you training, we can give you the tools. So we're always looking for people that would like to come down, and that's not to say that we don't want the older volunteers either. We just want everybody, really. So the more the merrier. Some of our younger members are currently working on restoring steam locomotive Alpha. It's a cosmetic restoration, which means it'll be the metal on the outside will be renewed so that it all looks nice and new. It'll be completely repainted, and we're going to use that for fundraising to actually get it back into steam. The loco itself, which is a sister of steam locos Superb and Triumph, has never operated in preservation, which after 47 years we think it's probably about time it did. But it costs an awful lot of money to get a steam locomotive up and running. Not quite as much money as the Flying Scotsman, but it's not a cheap project. So the good thing about this is that the younger members are learning the skills now for when we do get to the point that we've raised enough money to rebuild the loco. So hopefully they'll be able to hone their skills on the complete rebuild of the loco in the 2020s, which actually isn't all that far away when you think about it. And the younger members have also, Tim and Dan have been working really hard on the 5-inch gauge miniature railway that we're going to have running along the back fence. And we had it a few years ago before we closed, and it was really popular, and we're bringing it back again, if not this year, certainly next year. And it's going to be really good. It's a great way of getting everybody involved, and having a little run behind a miniature train is just as exciting as being behind the larger one.
Paul, how do you become a member?
Well, there's a couple of ways. You can either pick up a form during a work weekend, such as this weekend, or when we're open, or you can download it from our website. Membership costs £5 for junior members, that's those aged 14 to 17, £20 for adult members, £39 for family membership, and then we've got some life membership rates as well. So it's £400 for individual life membership, £200 for life membership if you're over 60, and £600 for family life membership, which is available to 2 adults living at the same address. For your membership fee, you get to travel free on the railway. So on some of our special event days like Steam and Beer and Santa Specials, the cost of the travel is taken out of the overall fare, so you get a discount on the overall fare. We also get our quarterly New Bogey magazine, and working members get a discount in the Footplate Cafe. The free travel on the railway is really useful, because of course if you join up at the beginning of the season, that's pretty much all season. You can come down every weekend if you so wish, and have a good time. Bring the kids with you. So it's great to be able to offer that, and not a lot of railways do that anymore. So it's good that we can.
I think we're next going to cover what you're fundraising for this year.
So yeah, we've got a couple of main things to fundraise for. First of all is the Sort Out Sittingbourne campaign, the SOS campaign. We're trying to sort out Sittingbourne Viaduct Station, not the whole town. What we're trying to get money for there is that we've got the new stairs, which is brilliant, but it's about sorting out the station site for disabled access. We'd like to install another platform so that we've got 2 platforms there, which would increase the frequency of trains that we can run on special event days. And that requires some point work to be designed and purchased, so that's not going to be cheap, but hopefully we'll be able to do that this year at some point, or at least carry on fundraising towards it. And then another project that we're working on is sponsor a tube for Premier. So Premier is one of the steam locomotives that was delivered to Lloyd's Paper Mill in Sittingbourne in 1905. It's remained with the railway ever since, and over the years a number of modifications have been carried out, improvements and tweaks, and it's changed its appearance since it was first delivered. There were 2 locos in that first delivery, the other loco being Leader. Our Leader is operational now. It's the red engine, so you can't miss it. It's on the front of our leaflet, and you can often see it going over the viaduct and in operation at the railway. So what we've decided to do with Premier is, when it comes back into service, put it back in the sort of as near to as-built condition as we can. I wouldn't want to be a driver or fireman on it, because it means you only have half a cab if you're lucky, and I would imagine that's going to be quite drafty, but I'm sure that there was a plan for that. The loco's been out of action for at least a decade, so it would be brilliant to get it back into action, and we know that Leader will have to come out of service soon anyway. So it's all about cyclic maintenance and making sure everything lines up. So over the last few years, work has been carried out on Premier, and many parts have been removed, some for reuse, some for measuring and replacement, and others for scrap because the loco is going to be in as-built condition. The main chassis of the loco can be found inside the engine shed at Kemsley Down, but the boiler is 166 miles away at the North Norfolk Railway, where it's being overhauled, and as part of this, all 70 boiler tubes need replacing. They cost about £50 each, so we've launched a sponsor a tube campaign to raise funds to pay for this work. Now, you're probably wondering what a boiler tube does. So if you can imagine your typical steam loco with the chimney at the front and the cab at the back, the chimney is attached to the smoke box, which is at the front of the loco, and the cab is attached to the firebox. Now the firebox, as the name suggests, is where the fireman manages the fire. And then the boiler, which is the bit between the firebox and the smoke box, is where the water is turned to steam. So the fire produces hot gases which pass through the tubes, which are surrounded by the water in the boiler, and then the water becomes hot and eventually gets up to enough pressure to run the locomotive as it forms steam. This builds up in the top of the boiler, and when it's at the operational pressure, it is used by the driver to move the train. It passes through pipes to the steam chest and then into the cylinders, where it pushes the cylinder head, and that in turn pushes the drive rods and turns the wheels. So that's how a lump of coal can make a train move. And there's, as I said, there's 70 of these tubes, and we've so far 31 of them have been bought or been sponsored. And if you'd like to sponsor a tube, as I say, it's £50 a tube. It's going to be really good to have the loco back up and running, and it's going to be really unusual seeing it in its original as-built condition. So this is one of the things that we are fundraising for this year, and you can find more information about it on our website. And there's some pictures of work going on the boiler on the web page for Premier, and you can see how they're getting on at North Norfolk Railway, which is quite a long way from here to have the boiler retubed.
Paul, before you go, I was hoping you could just refresh our listeners on all the contact details where they can find out more.
Sure. So all of the timetable running information and ticket pricing and everything else is available on our website, which is www.sklr.net. We've got a telephone talking timetable, which is 01795 424 899. If you've got any other inquiries, if you work weekends or you want to know about the work that we do during the week, or the footplate experience course, anything like that, you can email info@sklr.net. You can find out more information by joining our Facebook group. We have a lot more photos of things that are happening during the week or at the weekend. A lot of people will post photos. So that's www.facebook.com/groups/S and which is ANDKLR. For the podcast, which I'm hoping to bring back in the next couple of weeks, just in time for the start of the season, you can search for Sittingbourne Kemsley Light Railway in iTunes, or visit www.youtube.com/Stop'em, which is STOPEM. Working on an app as well. So I got a bit of a railway pun in here, so see if you can spot it. An app is currently being developed to work with the podcast feed and provide additional services to the podcast. It is already available from the App Store and will be arriving at other platforms soon. And on Twitter, it's at capital S, lowercase AND, capital K, capital L, and capital R. And you can also see my blog, which is www.stopem, which is STOPEM.net.
Well, as always, it's been great to have you here at BRFM once again. Thank you very much for coming along.
It's lovely to be back. Thanks very much.
That is Paul Best and the Sittingbourne Kemsley Light Railway right here at the Monday Night Community Show.